Welcome back to the Elias Makos Show. Organizers of Montreal Pride say last year's last-minute parade cancellation is history, and this year's event is bigger and, more importantly, better organized than ever. The 17th annual Pride runs through this weekend, and although the parade is set to go off without an issue on Sunday, it does come with some controversy. Ngabonziza is Director of Programming at Montreal Pride and joins us now. Chris, welcome to the program.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Doing good, excited, nervous, all those... it's a cocktail of emotions, but we're ready.
Tell me why. Why the nervousness?
Because, we're carrying a little bit of trauma from last week.
Mm-hmm. Last year, you mean?
We're very excited about the program. Sorry?
Last year, you mean? You said last week?
Sorry, last year.
Okay, yeah.
And, and we're very excited about what we have we've prepared and worked on for about a year. So it's kind of like somebody who's just about to deliver a baby and just kind of hoping for the best. But I mean, the anxiety is obviously there's a lot of positiveness in there, obviously.
So what happened internally to make sure there's no repeat? What other things have been done for the communication between teams and that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, all that stuff is resolved. Obviously, we are a bigger team. We got some help. We have newer members. In short, we've really professionalized the entire team. So there really shouldn't be any worry about the parade this year. I can't really speak too much about the parade because I'm programming director for it's the artistic part. So
gotcha.
I deal with artists and agents and shows and stuff. The parade is more of the operation and production department. I think next time when you have somebody from that department, they might be able to give you more details about that. But for me, it's really my focus is on the artistic side of things.
Of course, and I understand that, Chris. Yeah. But of course, I would imagine with what you just said about how everything's been upgraded so that the teams are the communication levels are up. Certainly, I hope you're part of meetings and that kind of thing so that you do know what's happening, because it seemed like last year that was part of the problem, right?
Everything that's going on. In fact, yesterday, one of the reasons why I couldn't make the meeting is because we had these, lengthy daily meetings to make sure everything is on point every morning. So honestly, we are super ready. We are very, very ready. The team, like I said, we're excited. And it's going to be great. It's really going to be. We started last week. If you notice.
Yes. Yeah.
And if the trend continues from what happened for us last week, this week is going to be amazing.
So let's talk about, let's go up to, your alley, your programming, right? That's what, you're the director of programming. So let's talk a little bit more about that. Sure. I know that, Pride wants to be an inclusive setting for all. So how do you, and obviously Pride is already inclusive. How do you ensure that the programming is as inclusive as, the goals internally of the organization?
That's obviously one of the main things. And if you had a chance to go over our programming at large, you'll notice that we have a level of inclusion that you don't really get to see anywhere else in any other festival, whether it's Pride or any other major festival, like any of the other major festivals, whether it's here or elsewhere. So inclusion for us, the magic of inclusion for us is really, really at a centerpiece of that really informs most of my decisions. I myself am a BIPOC person. I'm an immigrant. I'm a gay man. So I have all these intersectionalities that really sort of allow me to almost instinctively make these decisions. So it's extremely inclusive. We have shows. We have drag shows, we have music shows, we have comedy shows now, we have cinema, we have all kinds of things, and through it all, you can really observe a level of inclusiveness and diversity that is almost really unprecedented. I can give you some numbers. 60% of our programming this year is BIPOC artists, and this is like people from the Black community, from Latinx community, from Asian community, or from Two-Spirit Indigenous community. So it's very, very diverse, honestly. And that's even my colleagues and I we were kind of joking that in a few years we might become consultants in inclusion, because even the city was sort of congratulating us on the inclusion job we did. So that front, honestly, we've super covered, and I'm super.
So inclusion on the programming roster, right? I think so. What did you say? 60% would be a BIPOC, or right now, 60% is the number that you said?
Absolutely, yes.
So you have the inclusion on the programming. What about the inclusion to making everyone feel welcome to come to a Pride event? Well,
of course.
How does that work? Because you got to do both things, I would imagine.
Well, I mean, they're all kind of stems from the same intention, right? So once you've made the exercise to include everybody, and everybody begins to see themselves in your programming, then it becomes a very welcoming, space for most people. Now, obviously, that has to be has to go along with la bienveillance and security and all that stuff. And our community department obviously we have some of the best minds to work on those subjects. So you will, rest sure that, everyone is going to feel safe and welcome and included. Absolutely. So
can I just ask you, because you must have discussions with all of your team members about who's invited, who gets to come to Pride. I know there's some controversy that the SPVM was asked not to participate in this year's parade. And I've seen it around. And by the way, it's not just here. I've seen other places in North America that do something similar. Yeah. Vancouver, there's a controversy because certain conservatives would like to march, and they've been told you're not welcome. What's your take on that? Because you just talked about inclusivity, and so absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the relationship with our communities, between our communities and the police, it really, on a global scale, has always been a very complicated one, honestly. Okay, whether it's here or in other major cities in North America, or in small cities for that matter, even in Europe or elsewhere, the relationship within the LGBT communities from the 60s or even the 50s to now has always been a very, very, very complicated and problematic one. So, but I'm really happy to report that we are working on those relationships. There's all kinds of meetings and talks that's going on in the background between everyone, and it's not perfect yet. There's still a lot of tension. There's still a lot of trauma and history stuff, but we're very, very happy that things are moving along. That's really all I can say about that for the moment, but we really are working super, super hard on that. My executive director is really doing a great job on that. So obviously, like any other relationship, things don't turn around overnight. It's a baby steps, small steps, and people making compromises and work. We're very lucky. We live in a very open society here in Montreal, and things seem to be moving in the right direction on that front.
Chris, it's Wednesday here, and we still got many more days left in Pride. Why don't you give our listeners maybe one particular event, show that you think would appeal to a lot of people that they should be thinking about showing up to over the next few days?
Yeah. Well, that's a really difficult question for me, because all these shows that I've been working on for all year long. So it's kind of like a parent asking a kind of parent.
Who's your favorite child? Who is your favorite child, Chris?
Depending on the day, I will tell you like this one or that one. But for now, obviously, the opening show that we have today is called EMix, and we have the best musicians, playing with everyone. We really wanted to kick off the big shows with this EMix show, because we were talking about inclusion earlier and diversity, and honestly, we have artists that are going to be sharing the stage that would never. That occurrence would not happen in any other circumstance other than Pride Montreal. So if it's not too late for people to plan to come to the Esplanade today, I suggest you come see. We're gonna have Club El Gag, and it's very Quebecois. It's very Quebec also. It's very here. So we have people like Club El Gag and and Edith Butler and Joe Bocan and Lumière and so all these like queer kids mixed with all these like very well established Quebec allies. I mean, it's going to be a really great party today. So. And
today, that's a free event. At the Esplanade, that's free for everyone.
All of our shows are completely free.
Amazing. Yeah. Okay, Chris, listen, we have to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, David.
That is Chris Ngabonziza, Director of Programming at Montreal Pride.